There's a steel blue owl shining in your eyes, like red blood dripping from a western sky. Trapped in a world full of copycats, where you're a lone wolf, baby, making solitary tracks. Yeah. Indiana girl with an Idaho heart, faith in the Bible, faith in the stars. And I'm a loose rein, honey, no holding me back. Yeah, I'm a lone wolf, baby, making solitary tracks. Just looking for something ain't never gonna find. Hell, been stubborn, yeah, we'll probably die trying. Ain't never been the ones to run with the pack. Just a couple lone wolves making solitary tracks. On the fringe, on the edge, never sleeping in the den. Forever on the outside, always looking in. There's a big fork sticking in the middle of the road, and we both know where the story goes. Someday maybe we'll recross paths, just a couple lone wolves making solitary tracks. Just looking for something ain't never gonna find. Hell, been stubborn, yeah, we'll probably die trying. Ain't never been one to run with a pack. Just a couple lone wolves making solitary tracks. There's a full moon shining on the snow out back, for a couple lone wolves making solitary tracks.
Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Monday, everybody. Holy cow, we've been taken over by bots. We need our moderators in the chat here. Where's the moderators? Oh yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me. That's that was our good friend Kip Moore, my favorite guy, my all-time favorite artist. I think he's the most underrated artist on planet Earth. I will go out on a limb and say that. I will. And actually, if you like that song, you're going to enjoy every day this week with a different Kip Moore song. His album just came out on Friday. Been listening to it all weekend. So we're going to have a different theme, different song all this week. This is Kip Moore week. My guy. He's awesome. He's had a big impact on my life. Met him a couple times. He probably wouldn't remember me, but I remember obviously him. So I see a couple people over in the Zap stream. Josh says Zap stream up and running. Like the music is back though. And then Sunshine says just a couple lone wolves making solitary tracks. I think that there's a lot of people here who can relate to that. Because when you exit the system, when you exit the matrix, or when you're on your way out, it's a pretty lonely place. It's a very lonely place. And not everybody's built to survive that. Truly. I know most people in my life, aren't, just couldn't do it. It's very hard to go against the grain, whether we're talking, can everybody hear me okay? Okay. Whether we're talking financial stuff, whether we're talking leaving your job, whether we're talking the pandemic, all the stuff that went down there, it is very hard to go against the grain. But to me, it's worth it. I don't know why this camera's so out of sync today. You got a nice view of my mess here. That's okay. That's part of it. It's pretty bright in here. I got my new light. It's not even on. Look at this thing. My new daytime light. Daytime, nighttime light. It's pretty badass. It's massive. But I'd turn it off because it was too bright. So anyways, let's check on what's going on here. Santino's in the chat. Good morning, Santino. Looks like we got some blocking to do. Santino says we front ran the strategic announcement and bought the dip. Congrats, everyone. Yeah, apparently we're back to where we were a couple weeks ago, so that's good news, I guess. That was a quick week at the bottom for us. When we're talking about solitary tracks, when we're talking about, being in a different spot, Bitcoin is like 98%. People, if you're a Bitcoiner, 90% of the time you're getting called a dipshit. 2% of the time, people are like, maybe Jor was right. Maybe you got lucky. But it's but for the rest of it, yeah, we're dipshits. Last week we were dipshits all week. So you kind of just got to get used to it. It's not for everybody, but it's for the right people. Okay, let's block this guy. Do we put them in timeout or do we block them? I don't know. We'll give them a shot. Everybody gets a second chance. Clean your machine. Good morning. Joshua. Josh, I saw you left a nice little zap here this morning. So thank you for that. We got Arnie's wallet live here. Little magic trick. You just scan this little guy. You send in at least one sat. And the phone lights up here. So we got one from Josh to start the day today on Monday. By the way, all the zaps today are going towards the Rescue Dog Fund. I didn't put that in Zapstream, but that is, it's Monday. So all the zaps from today's show are going to go to the Rescue Dog Fund. And I guess on that note, we should provide an update on where we're at. Where are we at today? Okay, so we're doing pretty good here. We're doing pretty damn good, I would say. I got to make sure that all the cells are being included here. So the Rescue Dog Fund is currently sitting at 250,392 sats. It's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty impressive, and we're still pretty early in the process here. So all the zaps from today, once again, for the third time, will go towards the rescue dogs. And I see my Pat the Fires over in Zapstream this morning, zapped 88 sats for the dogs. So thank you for that. Let's have a good show today. Let's have a good show. We got Phil's in the chat. Good morning. Managed to buy the dip. I bought some too. Doesn't it feel good when you buy the dip and then it runs? It's always the other way. I always buy and then it crashes. So once in a while, very rare, again, the 2% when you're right, or when, the world doesn't think you're a dipshit. So that was us this weekend. We should share this to Nostr, I guess, our friends over on Nostr. We are live. I should say something about the Rescue Dog Fund here too, actually. Take it kind of seriously. We are live. All zaps today go towards the Bitcoin Rescue Dog Fund. Kind of a shitty name, but I mean, it gets the job done. I was trying to think of something clever for it, but I think we'll just confuse people. So we'll just be very objective. The Rescue Dog Bitcoin Fund. No, it's Bitcoin Rescue Dog. I don't even know what it is. Anyways, that's today. It is Monday. Bird Meta. Good morning. Good to see you in the chat this morning. We got Josh says, bet there will be a few shitcoiner bots in here this morning. Mute button ready. Yes, you are correct to say. Jay says, stand up for your rights. That's exactly right. We got a couple of those songs this week are going to be about standing up for what you believe in. I very much align with Kip. I love his music. Obviously, he's very unique sound. He's like kind of a mixture between country and rock. I would say that he's kind of more rock though, but he's always just kind of done his own thing. He early on in his career, he basically told the record label, the music industry to go fuck themselves politely. And so he never really got like a big shot. He was never on the radio, all that stuff. But man, he's just got such a good sound and a good guy too. Ginger, good morning. Cleaning Machine, Rising River, Sats for the big dog. He was here, but he's gone now. I don't know where he went. But yeah, he's around here somewhere. He might come back. Another frog. Good morning. Okay, let's we're gonna ban this fella. XRP Trump XRP fan. We're skipping the timeouts. Ban user, delete their comments. Adios, amigo. Bird Meta says shitcoins will be negotiated out of the strategic reserve. Bitcoin is the only coin that makes sense. Yeah, we'll obviously get into that today. Mr. Yofang, good morning. Moro, good to see you. You deserve all the XRP. Yeah, that is true. Anybody who's happy about that is going to deserve what they get coming here. Yeah, I mean, before we get too far into it, I think it's important to. Wow, that's a big fat zap today. That one definitely lit up the screen. Holy cow! It should be like, I wish it was the bigger the zap, the brighter it is. It like lights up the whole screen green or the whole room green. But anyways, that is a very generous zap for the dogs this morning. 25,000 sats. And that's okay. You know what? If you watch the show every day of the week and you only have so much sats to allocate, I prefer that you do it on Monday. I really want this rescue dog fund to turn into something. Bigger picture here, this is going to be a very big thing, I think. So shout out to everybody who's like here contributing now. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, if you got sats to spare, make sure you're doing it on Mondays or Fridays. Fat Zap Friday. But anyways, thank you for that. That was an anonymous zap as well. I have a decent idea of who it was, but we'll go with anonymous. Yeah, before we go any further into the shitcoin reserve today, I think it's important to just kind of take a step back always. And like, yes, Trump tweeted, posted, whatever you want to call it yesterday about XRP, ADA. There's a couple other ones, absolutely irrelevant. But the point where I want to start today is like, nothing's official. It was a tweet. And I honestly hate that like one person or one account has that much influence over the markets. I mean, it just kind of goes to show how small we are right now and how small this market cap is. But like, nothing's happened yet. He just posted something about it. Nothing has happened yet. I think we live in a world where information just travels like at the speed of light, and everybody just gets so wrapped up in, the next thing that happened without even like doing any sort of due diligence to like think, has anything happened? Am I affected by this? Is anybody affected by this yet, other than the idiots who own XRP and they got their price up yesterday? No, nothing has happened. Somebody fucking tweeted something. Like, come on. We have to be a little bit better than that. We have to be better than that. God Candle, we got something running this morning or what? I saw a couple different notes on that here. No, maybe you're thinking it's coming. I mean, yesterday was the closest we've seen to one, I think, because I think that was according to the Living in the Future chat, that was the biggest one-day swing in Bitcoin history. So anyways, let's check over on the Zap stream here. Looks like it's buzzing. We got Craig over there. Good morning, Craig. Rebased. Made it to the Zap stream. Let's fucking go. Good morning. And Spaceman zapped 88 sats for the dogs. Sats for the woofers. Thank you, Spaceman. And the Grinder's over here. Grinder says, bottom line, this will leave more sats for the people. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Thank you, Grinder. I know not everybody's happy with, everything that happens, but, you have to always just like take a step back and say, okay, like what's happening here? What's going to be the longer term play of this? Think it through instead of just like jumping into the deep end of like, oh my God, it's over. Bitcoin's dead. Live good with Sabian. Good day, Jor. Sending sunny vibes your day or your way. It is sunny here. It is beautiful. We're finally getting some decent weather here. Rain in San Diego today. Well, I think you get pretty lucky for most of the year, so I don't feel too bad for you there, Mr. Yofang. And we got another green candle here on the screen. 1,000 sats. Anonymous 1,000 sats. Thank you. Thank you to whomever that was. Bren says, how about Peter Schiff's latest comment on X? What the? Yeah. I'm just kind of somebody said yesterday that there's no more soap operas on TV anymore. Do you guys remember? I don't know how old you are, but I'm about to date myself anyway in just a second here. But do you guys notice that there's no more soap operas on TV anymore because we pretty much just live one? Like it's just absolutely insane. Day after day, hour after hour, there's always something going on. It's impossible to keep up with. And, you shouldn't even try. But on that note, I think we should go over to one of our Nostr news for today. I've been trying to do at least one of these every episode, taking a post from Nostr and bringing it to the mainstream here a little bit. Not really mainstream, but, out of Nostr land. And I've also decided that every post that I share on the show here, I'm going to be zapping 88 sats. Doesn't that make sense? So here we go. This is kind of tying what we were just talking about there in terms of dating myself and soap operas on TV. Check this one out. I got a kick out of this one. From UTXO, the webmaster over on Nostr. Said, today's children will never understand the magnificence of this design in your home. I can't say that I ever had a setup like this. Well, it's kind of in between, but it didn't look like this. But I can say that my dad definitely had something like this. And he had a whole like rack of cassettes, CDs. I think we were kind of past records at that point. But like some of those CDs, I don't know. I think we still have a lot of them, but like Meatloaf, AC/DC, Travis Tritt, just these were the days. These were the days. This is when you had true audio too. I know it's a little bit more smaller now, more portable, easier, but like it's hard to beat the sound that came out of a setup like this. And, you know, just kind of thinking on that, I didn't really think about this until now, but I think that just goes to show. I think that's a perfect like representation of kind of where we are right now. Everything's smaller, cheaper, made poorer, easier, but like the quality's way down in everything. You could point to any single product, any single industry, and the quality of everything, including sound, is down. Unless you want to spend like $20,000 on a sound system now. But like just a perfect reflection of where we are in society right now. And the whole reason for that is giving a small group of people the ability to print money. That's it. Simple. I could pretty much just come on here every day and you know, just say that. Like if you look around and you notice anything wrong, the problem there is the money. The problem is that a small group of people have the ability to print money. That's where it starts. Everything in life starts with the money. Fake money. Broken money. Buck52, good morning. Rick says, did you smash the like yet? That's a great question, Rick. Let's check. Let's audit. Oh, we got a Bitcoin crash going on now. Just had it up on my screen there. What happened now? Did Trump say something? Okay, what was I doing there? What was I doing? Oh, I got to confirm here. How are we doing? We got 50 people in here. And we got... You guys are going to be called out here. Half the likes, 25 likes. Come on, Rick. We can do better than that, my friend. Tom says, good call. There has to be a path to redemption. Yeah, no, true, though. It's absolutely true. Bren says, has anyone seen Zelensky's dance video on YouTube? What the? Yeah, there's a lot of those videos floating around. I've seen, that's kind of where I lost all sort of interest in Ukraine. Was when I saw some of those videos. And I'm Ukrainian myself. That's a crazy thing is when I drive around here, like Manitoba, especially the town that I live in here, very Ukrainian like background, not like the Ukraine we see today, but there's Ukrainian flags everywhere. Everybody here in Canada is like on Team Ukraine because a lot of people have Ukrainian heritage and they don't really understand what's happening here. They don't understand, that this guy is literally just a fucking actor that's addicted to cocaine and like the worst human being, one of the worst human beings on the planet, probably. But people are just like so caught up in the news cycle and the narrative. And it's just like, it's so tiresome to me. So tiresome. Timber Crasher, good morning. Hey, Laugh Pad. Good morning, my people. Thank you, Laugh Pad. And Morrow says 1K sats for Jor. So that must have been Morrow then the last zap here. And I see a couple over on the Zap stream as well. What do we got? We got Ryan zapped 1,000 sats. Thank you, Ryan. Very much appreciate that. Sunshine says Bad Out of Hell. Yeah, that was the album, Bad Out of Hell. Solid. Meatloaf, also one of the most underrated. Although I think they did pretty well for themselves. But yeah, very underrated band. Grinder says amplifier, equalizer, CD, tape, vinyl, radio, and a decent subwoofer. That's very OG. Good old days, eh? The good old days. Matrix, morning from White Rock. Good morning, Matrix. Morning, Ian. Good to see you. And W for 25K sats. Yeah, whoever that was, big time W there. Miss Buck52 says Mr. T was just pumping him in his friend's bags. That's kind of my theory on it right now too. And I don't know if we want to get into it right now. I was going to kind of wait till later in the show, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it too. That's kind of what I've reconciled with in my own head after, about 24 hours now of like seeing everything, seeing everybody's reaction to it, taking things in. That's kind of my initial thoughts too now, is like, they haven't done anything. Again, going back to what I started with here, nothing's happened yet. It's just a post. It's all that's happened so far. It's just a post. And what did that post do? It jacked everything up. Jacked Bitcoin up before Bitcoin was even mentioned by Trump yesterday. Bitcoin's running. XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, all these things were running. And if you look at the campaign, like, I don't know why anybody's surprised by this, by the way. Like, Trump has been talking about crypto and Bitcoin for a long time. And first of all, I love the fact that he's distinctively differentiating that, crypto and Bitcoin. But he's been talking about this stuff forever. And he had Brad Garlinghouse, the XRP guy. He was a big supporter of Trump during the campaign. Charles Hodgkin, or whatever that dipshit's name is, also supporting the Trump campaign. So what did that post do yesterday? Nothing was bought. It's not like Trump said the US has just bought 1 million XRP tokens. All he did was generate a little bit of traction. The price went up. What do you think happened there? For Brad Garlinghouse, a guy who doesn't buy XRP or really use XRP, all he does is dump XRP. What do you think Brad did yesterday? He probably dumped some XRP, and he's probably pretty happy about it. So just understand that there's a much bigger thing here at play than just the price of Bitcoin. So I agree with that. I think that that's what we'll keep talking about it kind of throughout here, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it anyways as well. I agree with Buck52. 0990 says, most people have no clue, although I find it hard to understand why they don't do their research. I've been thinking about this a lot. This is one of the big things on my mind right now. There's a couple different things floating through my brain every day right now. A big one is Bitcoin security. That's kind of what I've been focused on for the last couple months, and will continue to be into the future here. But one of the things is, like, how do we get the average person here to understand it? And kind of what I've come to the conclusion on, and kind of why I actually titled the show today Solitary Tracks, and showed that first video talking about, being a lone wolf and making your own tracks and making your own path. But if you really think about it, so for the last couple of years, I've had, people reach out, I've talked to people, I've had conversations, I've done presentations to people. And I think that the biggest problem right now, when we're trying to get people to understand Bitcoin, is that they really don't understand the problem. And me personally, I didn't get into Bitcoin by watching a Bitcoin video. I got into Bitcoin because I watched a video on history and our monetary system and how it impacts everything in our life. It wasn't Bitcoin. That Bitcoin didn't draw me to Bitcoin. It was how broken everything else is and why Bitcoin might be a solution to that. And then the further you go into Bitcoin, the more you understand, yes, this makes sense. Yes, okay, this is immutable because of this. But when you're talking to a group of people who have put in 0 hours understanding Bitcoin, you could say whatever you want to. You could show them the historical performance of Bitcoin. You could show them all the technical aspects of why Bitcoin is better than everything else. But without a fundamental understanding of what Bitcoin is and how it all ties together, they'll just write it off as something that's either a scam, a Ponzi scheme, or too good to be true. So that's the disconnect there, is that the people who understand that this thing is legitimate and probably the greatest discovery in human history, there's people that understand that, and they're trying to talk to these people who have no understanding of what Bitcoin is. And so again, you could have the best presentation ever, but unless you had 10, 20, 100 hours with that person to kind of give them the background of everything and explain why it's not a scam, explain why it's not a Ponzi scheme, and explain why, regardless of how good it is, nobody can shut it down. Until you can bridge that gap there, it's all for nothing. And so I think we spend a lot of our time and energy trying to convince other people and worry about other people, but they're going to get here when they're ready to get here. Once they understand that there's a problem, that's when you start seeking a solution. You can't go to somebody with a solution if they don't know that a problem exists. So it's tough. It's a tough place to be. Trump didn't even mention Bitcoin in his initial tweet. That scares me. Here's what I think about that. And this is not just a noob sailboat or sailboat, must be Canadian. But here's my thoughts on that. Because here's the difference between Bitcoin and XRP and Cardano and Ethereum. The difference is that those cryptos that I just mentioned there, XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, they need a US strategic reserve. They need Trump to be tweeting about their cryptocurrencies. Do you know who doesn't need that? Bitcoin. We're in two different worlds right now. That they are totally reliant. They have nothing else going for them right now other than waiting for a tweet or an announcement or something like that. So there's a whole bunch of like buzz around it. The price is running up and they can sell it. That's their whole game. Whereas Bitcoiners, we don't need a tweet. We don't need an announcement. We don't need anything. This thing's going to play out like it's going to play out regardless. Everything is going to fall and trend towards zero over a long enough time frame. So we don't need any of that. We're not reliant on anybody to do anything other than grow this network at a grassroots level. Because when you have one person who understands it, they're going to tell 20 people effectively, and maybe 2 or 3 of those other people will understand it. And then they're going to tell 2 or 3 more people, and it's going to spread. And that's kind of how Bitcoin has got to this point, even being a $2 trillion asset class. It wasn't by government. It wasn't by any announcements or anything like that. It was just people understanding the problem and seeing Bitcoin as the solution. And eventually everything will flow into the solution, into the best option. What else we got going on here? Grinder says 5 minutes later, shit, it's over again. Grinder says Bitcoin got rejected at the 25-day moving average after going up too fast. We'll come down to the 7-day and take it from there. Probably true. Probably true. Josh says Forrest had a good video yesterday about how shitty XRP is and how it's mostly held by Ripple execs. Then the tweet came out and the bots and the XRP fanboys jumped on in the comments section. Oh, man. Yeah, both the XRP and the Ethereum community, just bad people. That's all it is. It's like, to me, even if I had a crystal ball and I knew that XRP was going to go from $1 to $100 tomorrow, I would not buy any XRP. And that is the God's honest truth. I wouldn't, because it's a terrible idea. It's a terrible token. It's a terrible community. It's a terrible everything. There's nothing that gives me any sort of like good feeling about XRP or Ethereum, both cut from the same cloth. Mike says, supposedly Trump said he's making an investment announcement today as well. And David Bailey said China is considering a Bitcoin reserve. You have to understand that all of these countries they've been buying Bitcoin for a long time now. China, Russia, the UAE. Like, by the time news gets to us and to you, it's already happened. Like, we have to understand that. And that's another big disconnect for a lot of people too, is that like everybody waits. They have to hear the news from like an official source, the TV, Twitter, anywhere. They have to wait for this like official announcement. But what most people miss is that by the time you hear that official announcement, it's already happened. And so unless you have the ability to kind of connect dots and put things together, and have some sort of like foresight and vision into the future, you're always going to be left behind. And I wish that was a lesson that they taught to people and kids at an earlier age, is like using logic and using common sense and learning how to connect the dots and thinking critically about things instead of waiting for people to tell you things. Because again, once that announcement's come out, it's been happening for a very long time. By the time official news reaches the general public, it's too late. No opportunity that is there anymore. So I think that is, something that Bitcoiners see, or, most Bitcoiners see differently than the rest of the world, is like just the ability to put things together on their own without needing somebody to tell them what it is. So of course China's going to have a Bitcoin reserve. Of course they are. So why would you wait for an official announcement? Of course China is going to have a Bitcoin reserve. Of course the US is going to have a Bitcoin reserve, because they won't be able to not have a Bitcoin reserve. So just don't wait for official announcements from anybody. Do the work, understand it, and connect the dots yourself. He said Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, although I don't understand what Ethereum should do there. He's just, you have to understand that politicians, think about, okay, we got to calm down here a little bit. Let's get some good news here. Somebody zapped in 1,200 sats to the Rescue Dog Fund today. So thank you for that. It's good news. You have to understand here that politicians they want to appease to everybody and please everybody. And that includes the Ethereum people. That includes the Cardano holders. That includes the XRP holders and Brad Garlinghouse and all these idiots. A politician, to remain good in the polls with the general public, has to do things that not everybody will love, but a lot of people do. And that's, to me, why, when you think about two different things here, this is why I'm 0% concerned about anything, and especially Trump. You have to understand that Trump, when he went to the Bitcoin conference in 2024 in Nashville, he didn't have to do that, because again, going back to like Bitcoiners, the percentage of people who are Bitcoiners, the percentage of people who understand Bitcoin is very small. Him going to Nashville was not to like gain votes, because like the people who would have changed their mind based on that conference would be like less than 0.1% of the voters. I know we live in this echo chamber here of Bitcoiners where we think that everybody thinks like us and everybody has Bitcoin or should have Bitcoin. But the reality is like we're a very, very, very small subset of people. And so Trump didn't need to go to that conference, to the Bitcoin conference. And so that's one aspect of it. The second one is like, when you think about what Trump has done in his first term and what he's been talking about, look at Space Force. Look at who created Space Force. Look at who was laughed at and mocked for Space Force. And look at what Space Force has done in the last couple of years since Trump, 2019, I guess, more than a couple of years. But who's the big guy that everybody looks to in Bitcoin in terms of like the game theory here? It's Jason Lowery. And Jason Lowery was a member of Space Force. Like, again, not everything on the surface is what's actually going on there. You have to understand that. Not everything on the surface that everybody sees is what's actually going on there. You have to think a little bit differently. You have to be able to see past some of the bullshit and some of the noise, because we're at war right now. Most people think that like it's China, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, US, Russia, US, the war's already been going on for a very long time, and it's an information war. And when it's an information war, there's a lot of stuff put out there, just nonstop information from different sources, from different, it's an information war. And if you get caught up in what the mainstream news tells you and what the main narrative is around everything, you're just going to keep going in a constant circle of like stress and like it's bad. It's very bad. So you have to be able to like see it and then take it at face value and then see what's really going on there. It's a skill I think that most people don't have. Bitcoiners more than I think anybody else. But it's yeah. Bitcoinius Maximus. What's YW? Yo, from Nashville. From Nashville. Okay, sorry, I'm missing a couple things here. Grinder says, I just dropped the stupid lines on Nostr, Jor. What does that mean? What's the stupid lines? I don't know. I can't look at Nostr right now, Grinder. Sorry, buddy. Dallas. We got Nashville. We got Dallas. We got Andrew says, I think Trump is just trying to pump the entire crypto market. I mean, yeah. Wouldn't that make sense? The president won the financial markets to do well, for people to do well. Unfortunately, the people who buy it at the top are going to be left holding the bag. But again, everybody's got to touch the stove. Truth Jester, good morning. XRP equals bank coin, Solana equals scam coin, ADA does nothing coin. True. So when you think about it like that, what are you worried about? Brent, sorry, I've missed a bunch of comments here. I'm sorry, everybody. Brent says, dude, if you had a stereo rack like that in your house, people knew. Yeah. My dad also had a rack of sound equipment. I remember that. I remember him blasting Mozart in the morning on that bitch. Oh man, that is awesome. I absolutely love that. My dad still does the same thing, except he doesn't have the same stereo. He just has like a little portable one now, and he just carries that thing around everywhere. Like at the lake here, he has it everywhere. In the house, you can always tell where dad is because there's music playing. So I think I'd probably get that trait from him. But yeah, he'll have it in the shower, then he'll go upstairs, with his towel, and his music's just blaring. Loves it. Good old days when we were bullshitted every day. Yeah, the good old days. Both speakers are the best, although I've had some serious issues with both speakers in the last couple of years. I've had to replace mine twice. Warranty was on one, but the really good sound, just like, I don't know. I've had some issues with them. Yeah, 100%. Look at the architecture now compared to the past. Sound equipment, architecture, homes, everything. Just like down and down and down in quality. Brent says, I used to salivate over Sony and Pioneer setups and catalogs as a kid. Yeah. I love that. Retro Beaver says, we're clearly still incredibly early in Bitcoin's adoption and understanding. Truth. Everybody is. Kashmir Fire. Good morning. Hey, we got a zap over here from Noah. Noah. Hi, Living the Futures. I connected to Nostr again. Yay. Thank you, Noah. 1,000 sats for the dogs. And James Bond is in the chat today. Good morning. All right. We got some music chat. I got to skip over here. Sorry. Paul says, most people outsource their critical thinking. Yep. Remain lazy, letting the bankers, corporate media take them down bad roads. Isn't that true? Isn't that the truth? Mike Maloney did a great job, or a great YouTube series on history of money. I haven't seen that, but I've actually heard that by quite a few different sources. So I should probably look into that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely critical and imperative that people learn history and money before they can understand Bitcoin, because otherwise Bitcoin just doesn't make sense. And you have to understand the inner workings of Bitcoin to understand why it works and why that it will last through 1,000 years here. But when you don't have that understanding, then it all just kind of sounds like bullshit. And I think that that's where most people are right now. Being responsible for securing your own money is a foreign concept to most. Yeah, isn't that true? Sorry, Grinder. I have a hard time keeping up here. I'll get it one day. I'll figure it out one day. Okay, so let's go to. Let's keep talking about this a little bit. I want to show this tweet here. It's actually from Pierre Richard, and Jason Lowry retweeted it with a little dart. But before that, I want to say hi to Garja here. Morning from Florence, Italy. Yesterday night, I got some sats on KuCoin. Then I sent them via Lightning on Aqua Wallet. Then I swapped to on-chain Bitcoin, and then I transferred the sats to my Jade. Let me know if I did a good job and this is safe. Okay, so bought some sats on KuCoin. I sent them via Lightning on Aqua Wallet. Then I swapped to on-chain, and then I transferred the sats to my Jade. I think that's a really good way to do it for a couple of reasons. The first one is that, I mean, if you're doing that with Lightning, let's say that you're buying every day on KuCoin or every week, and you're doing that via Lightning. The nice thing about that is you can actually let those sats build up in your Aqua wallet for a while. You can just let them stay there in Lightning for a while, let it build up. And then you make the swap from Lightning to on-chain at, let's say, 200,000 sats, 500,000 sats, and then you move it to your cold storage. But the other nice thing about that too is you actually, without really knowing it, you kind of cut the chain there, right? Because when you move it on Lightning and then swap it to on-chain, that's when the new UTXO was created. And before that, it's not really showing where it came from. It's not necessarily connected to you. You'll still have like the KuCoin purchase history. But from that point of you swapping it from Lightning to on-chain, that's when that kind of gets broken there. So whatever you do with that from there, nobody knows if you do it properly, unless you mix it back into your other ones. That's where people kind of screw themselves, because they go through the whole process of doing that. And then when they send it to their Jade, they might have sent it to an address that has already been, KYC'd. So that seems like a great way to do it. I think you just have to make sure that if you're doing it that way, I would kind of keep all those sats in a separate place from like your KYC'd sats. Bitcoin Maximus. Trump adding the shitcoins is an intentional misdirection to keep retail normies from front-running the government. I don't know if I agree with that. There's a bunch of different theories on it, but just understand that it doesn't really matter. We got to stay focused here on Bitcoin. That's it. Everything else is just a distraction. Everything. It's another great point here from Sabian. The official sources are always lies too. That is true. I don't understand all these AC, so I just skip any information on that crap. Yep. It's true. Most politicians are literally actors in corporate ads. 100%. 100%. Space is fake. We never went to the moon. Yeah, and the Earth is flat. I mean, I don't doubt that the moon landing was completely fake. I've kind of subscribed to that theory myself. But to say that space is fake, I would disagree with that. I don't fall in that camp. Anyway, so let's see what Pierre Richard has to say about the reserve. So Pierre says, when each nation acquires a big Bitcoin position and a small basket of their own domestic local cryptos, the new world reserve currency is Bitcoin by default. Few understand this. So let's read this again, because I had to read this a couple times myself to kind of understand what he's talking about here. So when each nation acquires a big Bitcoin position and a small basket of their own domestic local cryptos, the new world reserve currency is Bitcoin by default. Few understand this. And you can see that our guy, Jason Lowry, also agrees with that thesis. And it's the truth. So if you look at, I think there was a good, I can't see it, of course, because I'm not signed into X. Fucking X. Actually, Twitter. We'll call it Twitter. It doesn't deserve to be called X. But anyways, there's a reply to that, and it showed kind of like what the U.S. holds right now in terms of its stockpile or reserve or whatever they have. And it's like Bitcoin at the top. I think it was like, I don't know, 200,000 Bitcoin, which is a couple billion, 10 billion. I don't know what it is. And then the second one was like 20,000 Ethereum or maybe like 100,000 Ethereum, which was like $1 million. Like the spread here it's a big spread between Bitcoin and everything else. So of course, like if you kind of subscribe to the theory that there's going to be altcoins and cryptocurrencies in the future and all these different currencies, then yeah, countries are going to hold their own currency. They're going to hold Bitcoin. They're going to hold Ethereum. They're going to hold all these different things. Like no country is just going to go 100% all in on Bitcoin. They just won't. And you might say, well, El Salvador only holds Bitcoin. They don't hold Ethereum. Well, they're still El Salvadorian dollars, right? They're still American dollars that they use in El Salvador. So yeah, I mean, the only crypto that El Salvador holds is Bitcoin, but they're still using all these different currencies. And that's kind of just like a good representation, I think, of what's going to happen in the future, where all these countries are going to have Bitcoin, and that's going to be like what their currency is backed by. And maybe a lot of countries don't even have their own currency in a decade from now. Maybe there's 10 country or nation state currencies, and everything else is just like nobody wants it, nobody cares, because they don't have anything backing that currency. Because right now you see all these different currencies that are essentially pegged to the US dollar. And we don't know how much supply there is. We don't know which people own which ones. It's all kind of just kept in the dark. That's why we have 200 different currencies right now, because it's all just in the dark. People don't know what they're holding. But in the future, if everything's backed by Bitcoin, they have these different cryptocurrencies or stable coins that are backed by Bitcoin, then that's what gives its value. You're going to be able to go onto a website and see Sweden has 5,000 Bitcoin. Canada has 5 Bitcoin. Which currency do you think you're going to hold? Probably Bitcoin, but then when you have to use it, you're probably going to be using Sweden's dollar, whatever that is, the donair. No, that's not it. I think that's a dessert. But you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really matter. That's what we have to understand here, is that it just doesn't really matter. It's all going to flow to Bitcoin. It's all going to be Bitcoin eventually. It's just going to take a long time to get there. And that's okay. Because kind of what the grinder said initially here at the start of the show, which I 1000% agree with, is that bottom line, this will leave more sats for the people, which is what we want. That's why Bitcoin has made it this far through 16 years, because when Bitcoin was released, it was released and people held it. Individuals still own 70% of the Bitcoin today. So if governments and big entities just start buying up all the Bitcoin, what the fuck good does that do for anybody? We want people, the average person, to own Bitcoin. We want the shift from the small group of people controlling everything to a decentralized world where everybody has a piece of the pie here. And that's what Bitcoin allows for. So Trump, the US, whoever, China, Russia, they can take as long as they want to get their Bitcoin, because the longer they take, the more that the average person, the people who are willing to put in some work and time to figure this thing out, they're going to end up with the Bitcoin, which is what we want. Right? I saw a Fads app just came in, folks. The screen lit up, the room lit up green. 10,000 sats for the dogs. So we got to be sniffing here at 300,000 sats in the fund. It's going to be big. This is going to be a big thing. And you're going to think back and you're going to remember, as as the Rescue Dog Fund plays out, you're going to think back to 2025 and say, you know what? I sent some sats to that. That's pretty cool. I was a big part of that. And even though it was like only $5 at the time, that has done significant things for the dogs. So thank you. Whoever sent that, thank you. All right. What else do we have here, folks? Oh, we already got that one. Jay says, this election was just a sample taste of how Bitcoin money will move the world. Yep. That is true. They've made plenty of CGI space images. Yeah, I mean, this is a good point. This is a good point. Cleaner Machine says, that's why I'm here listening to you and the group and not mainstream news. Yep. And I mean, even though there's, you know, when I watch different YouTube videos, they're like, oh, there's 4,000 people watching today, or there's 5,000 people watching today on X. I think those are boosted a little bit, but I mean, we got almost 100 people between YouTube and Zapstream alone right now in here. And I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you know, over time, I don't know how big the show or community will ever become. But like that's 100 people who are seeing things differently. That's 100 people who are going to start having conversations with their friends and family that look a lot differently than they did 4 years ago. And that's how everything happens. Nothing ever happens where somebody comes on TV and says, okay, this is what we're doing now. Everybody follow. Everything significant happens from the ground up, not the top down. And that's exactly what's being built right here. So we don't need to ever rush or panic or anything. It's just going to play out as it has to. A belief system built on lies relies upon the believer in the lying liar's lies to survive. How's a mouthful? Hey, Joey, good morning. Look at that beautiful dog. $4.99 today, super chat. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate that, brother. All right, Boomy says air pressure requires a container, so it's not possible to have space without separation. Facts. Rockets are combustion engines. They can't work without air. So Boomy, okay, maybe I misread this. Air pressure requires a container, so it's not possible to have space without separation. I'm not 100% sure I understand that, so I don't know if I disagree or agree with that. You're talking above my level here. I'm just a guy in the woods talking about Bitcoin. I know nothing. Somebody gave me shit over the weekend for pretending to know everything. And I'm just like, I say pretty much every day on my show that I know nothing. I don't claim to know anything. I'm not an expert because no experts exist in Bitcoin. And I've been humbled hundreds of times in Bitcoin. I've made the stupidest mistakes a guy could ever make. And a lot of it because I was stubborn and lazy and I didn't put in the work to understand what I was doing. So yeah, I'm not an expert in Bitcoin. And I'm definitely not an expert in space or engines. M. Vincent says, I think if filibustered, it would take 60 Senate votes to move the SBR to the president. Are there enough Democrats? Does Bitcoin need this to keep moving forward? I mean, I think I just answered that, so we don't need to spend any more time. Bitcoin doesn't need anybody or any politician, any country. People will figure it out on their own time and terms. Daily Money Thoughts says, guys, can anyone help me build a DIY seed center, please? I'm stuck in buying Raspberry Pi part. I'm sure there's somebody in here who could help you with that. Might cost you a couple sats, but you could find it. Sabian says, crypto refers to a cryptocurrency or a centralized fiat token. Bitcoin is not a currency because it is decentralized. Currency is controlled. Bitcoin cannot be controlled by anybody. Truth. BTC 209 says, love the show. Watch every day. Well, thank you. Great to have you here. Drew says, I heard a rumor that the Biden admin supposedly lost track of the seized Bitcoin. Hope this is BS. I don't. I mean, of course, I don't live in the US, but I would love to see the US government fumble their Bitcoin and lose it all. Also, I was going to talk about this another day, but yeah, I'll save it. But I mean, if you think about it like this, we could point to anybody right now. We could point to the US government. We could point to MicroStrategy. We could point to Coinbase. We could point to all these different entities here and say, do you have the Bitcoin? Because it's pretty easy to like have a tweet or a post or a spreadsheet. Like I could show you guys a spreadsheet right now and say, this is my Bitcoin holdings. I bought these back in 2021. I bought these in 2023. I bought a bunch in 2024. Here's my holdings. And I could say, I got 350 Bitcoin on a spreadsheet. But do I? Do I have the keys to those UTXOs? I don't know. Would you guys trust me? You shouldn't. You probably wouldn't trust me, but because a country says it or a public company says it, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're legitimate. So until countries and companies and everybody starts showing proof of reserves and showing that they actually have the Bitcoin, then we'll never really know how scarce Bitcoin is. And people are going to continue to manipulate and play games. And the price is never going to really be reflective of what it's really worth until we see proof of reserves. So that applies to the US government. You got 200,000 Bitcoin? Okay. Prove it. What's your address? That's the whole point of Bitcoin, is it's fully transparent. What's your address? You can share your address without any risk of somebody getting that Bitcoin from you. So show the address. US government, MicroStrategy, everybody, show your address. Anybody who reports to other people, anybody who has stakeholders involved, show your address. Lox Guy, Bitcoin scam. Yes, that is so true. That is a really great point. Bitcoin stands for I don't care. 100%. 100%. Once you get to a certain point in Bitcoin, you realize that nothing really matters too much. And along the way, there's going to be different things that happen, different governments in place, policies in place. I think to keep in mind here, and this is kind of what I said to the Living the Future group yesterday. I said, don't get distracted here. Keep your tiger vision on Bitcoin, because it doesn't really matter. None of this stuff matters at all. Eventually, it's going to flow into Bitcoin. Everybody has to touch the stove. That's governments, companies. Everybody has to touch the stove before they get burned. Everybody. Nobody is immune from that. And when you get to that level of understanding that it doesn't really matter. But the thing that we have to keep in mind here is that even though the president's talking about XRP and Ethereum and Cardano and Solana, who cares? Who cares? Like, honestly, it shouldn't, it has no impact on Bitcoin. And to think about it this way, it's much better that they're working for us instead of against us, regardless of what it looks like. The fact that they're not putting people in jail for, creating cryptos, or putting people in jail for having companies that mix Bitcoin. And, we've had 4 or 5 years now of like a very anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin government. So it's not going to be perfect, but we're definitely, in a much better place than we would have been otherwise. It's hilarious to me just to see all like these hardcore Bitcoiners just losing their fucking minds right now. It's like, just chill out. Like, just chill out a little bit here. People just waste so much energy and time worrying about the stupidest things. Dope Collector. Lighten the mood a little bit in here. Great name. Laughpad says, Jordan, do you think Bitcoin can work as a store of value without being a medium of exchange? Can one exist without the other? I feel personally it will take all. I mean, a good money I know we've never had this before, but a good money has to be a good store of value and a good medium of exchange. And Bitcoin is proven to be both of those things. We're very early on in this journey. And even if you think back a couple of years ago, like Lightning was just a complete shit show. But I use Lightning every day now. And numerous different things. It used to be just kind of Nostr only, but like the dealings that I do with people online and the work that I do and the work that I pay for, it's all on Lightning. And again, we're only 16 years into this thing. As long as we have layer one, as long as it stays decentralized and secure, then we will just keep stacking solutions on top of that. So I think that, yes, it can absolutely work as a store of value and a medium of exchange. I don't think it works without either of those two. Juanito, here I wrote on this napkin for you. What's that in relation to? All right. What did I have anything else? Oh, we're already over an hour here. What happened? How did that happen? Okay. Well, let's speaking of medium of exchange, let's check this post out. Let's check this post out here. So this is from Nostr. This is our second Nostr news from today. We got more Nostr than Twitter on today's show, which is good. We're moving in the right direction here. So the post says Stripe. Stripe, which is a payment processing company, generated 1.4 trillion in revenue in 2024, which means it took in 42 billion in transaction fees. Had merchants and consumers used the Lightning Network instead, those fees would have been closer to 6.7 billion, resulting in businesses and consumers saving over $35 billion for 2024. Can you imagine? Just think about how big of a deal that is. Businesses and consumers would have saved $35 billion using Lightning instead of Stripe. Think about what businesses and people could have done with that $35 billion. And the thing is like this stuff is already here. It's not like this needs to be invented and it's just something where it's a concept right now. Like this stuff already exists. And it's gonna, when you see things like this, it's just so obvious to me that the world's eventually going to figure this out. Because humans are smart. I know we're kind of idiots some days. But like for the most part, humans are smart. Humans are efficient. Humans always choose the most efficient path. Always, just like water. And, eventually as people figure this out, all of this is going to flow into Bitcoin. Everything. That'll be transactions. That'll be store of value. That'll be medium of exchange. That'll be the real estate market. As more and more people figure out what's going on here, it's all going to flow to Bitcoin. So if you got some sats, you're doing pretty good. Gregory says banks won't use Lightning because it's privacy for any non-direct path transactions. Yeah, that's true. I'm with you there. Banks won't use Lightning. I agree with that. I think for the most part, banks will definitely be using the layer one though. Definitely be using layer one. Buck52 says, trying to get my barber to accept Bitcoin. Explained how the credit card fees would disappear. Here's, I'm sure that there's people who watch this show who have heard this story before, but I'll just give you a quick story on when I wouldn't say orange pilled, but like had this conversation with my barber or hairdresser. And the thing that I explained to her, and this, as we talk about the medium of exchange here, plus store of value, this is kind of like a perfect example of that, honestly. Because kind of what I told her was that when you think about cash, if you're a barber, if you're a hairdresser, if you're a server, any of these like service industry, the jobs that are service based, everybody in those industries love cash. Why? Why do they love cash? Do they like the looks of it? Do they like our nice green bill with a dead politician on it? Do they like the feel of it? No. The thing they like about that cash transaction is that I can give it to the barber without anybody else knowing that I gave it to the barber. The barber now owns that $20 bill without anybody knowing. Look who it is. Without anybody knowing that he or she, not even going to say hi, has that $20 bill, right? So if you think about Bitcoin the exact same way, and this is what I explained to her, like I have Bitcoin in my Lightning wallet right now. You could download a Lightning wallet without any ID, without any email address or phone number. You can download a Bitcoin Lightning wallet right now. And I could send you $20, $25, $30 worth of Bitcoin to that wallet, and nobody will know that happened. That's a pretty big idea. And the fact that you don't have to carry cash around, the fact that you don't have to store it in your house or under a mattress or anything like that, like you can actually protect your wealth and store it, and you don't have to worry about any governments creating more of it and essentially devaluing yours. Bitcoin is exactly like cash, except in my opinion, 10 or 100 times better. Not of the dollar, cash. And again, just to go one step further here a little bit. As an accountant, I used to see all these different businesses, their financial statements. And at the top line of every balance sheet, it said cash. And cash is different than dollars. Cash that you can hold in your hand is much different than dollars in a bank, because that cash that you hold in your hand, that belongs to you. You don't need anybody's permission to spend that cash. Whereas dollars in the bank, that's essentially an IOU from the bank. You need the bank's permission to take that out of the bank to spend it on something. And if the bank doesn't like what you're doing, or the bank doesn't allow you to take this amount out at a certain time, you don't actually own that cash. So there's a big difference between cash and money in a bank. And cash is preferred. And if you think about Bitcoin like cash, except 10 times better, as more and more people eventually figure that out, again, all flows into Bitcoin because it just makes so much sense. I don't know what else to tell you. Cash is hush money. I've taken a lot of cash. In fact, over 1,000 this week alone. Yeah, everyone loves cash. Why? Because they can do whatever they want with it. They can hold it. They can burn it. They can do whatever they want with it. They don't need anybody's permission. Plus, the government doesn't know that they have it. And Bitcoin on Lightning, Bitcoin on Liquid, Bitcoin on eCash does the exact same thing, serves the exact same purpose. Except the nice thing about that is just this is what I mean. Like this, when you actually think things through like this, when you kind of understand that premise there, but then you say, okay, well, another reason why Bitcoin is better than cash is because I could give that $20 bill to somebody, but they have to be in the same room as me. I have to be in the same location as them. With Bitcoin, you can send that to anybody in the world with an internet connection. That's why we Bitcoin. That is why we Bitcoin. Oh man, I got some really good ideas and things I want to be talking about in the next couple of weeks. Just kind of going along these lines. And I was going to do a Bitcoin giveaway here, but I think we're out of tosses. I messaged Conrad, but I didn't hear anything back. I'll just double check here. Oh, Arnie had enough already. Do we have some Bitcoin to give away? No. Wah, wah, wah. I don't even have any of my own I could give you. So, the last thing I did want to talk about here quickly is Maple Bitcoin. Usually bring this up every Monday just as a reminder, because we've been posting a new video every week.
I think that's probably.
So this is a video we just shared yesterday. It's called Only Buy Bitcoin with the Money You Can't Afford to Lose, over on the Maple Bitcoin channel. So, oh, what did I do here? The reason I wanted to share this today is because we're going to be kicking it into another gear here shortly. And we're going to have numerous videos, but the thing I think that everybody's going to really give a shit about is we're going to be doing a weekly live stream. And I don't know if it's going to be this week or next week. But the reason why I wanted to mention it is just to make sure that you're subscribed, if that's something you want to be part of. If you're interested in that, make sure you go over to subscribe, and make sure you also turn on the, I think all are personalized. I don't know, the notifications, because then you'll know. Because at this point, I don't really know what we're doing yet, and I just don't want everybody to miss out on it. So when we do go live for the first time, make sure that you got her turned on there. I got some really big plans for this channel and this group. And I think that a lot of people here watching this today are going to be part of this, because this, again, going back to kind of where I started the show today, I've been thinking a lot about Bitcoin security. I've been thinking about the Bitcoin network and how we really move the needle with this thing, because nobody's really seemed to figure it out yet. We've done our best. You know, we show up here every single morning, but nobody's really figured out a way to like help the average person understand what's going on here. And so I kind of have an idea and a concept that I want to run with, starting with a group of people, including Rajat and Forrest, plus a few others. And it's going to actually include a lot of people who are part of this community here, especially the ones who are in Living in the Future community. In terms of like funding and supporting and like teaching the right things to people, so then when the message is communicated down the lines, it's effective, it's correct, it's accurate, and it's effective. And so we're kind of at the early stages of this and this idea. But again, there's a lot of people who are watching this show today. You might not know it yet, but you're going to be a big part of this. So the last thing that I would say, what was I going to say there? What the heck were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Proof of work. We're going to be doing day 2, episode 2 of Proof of Work Wednesday. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up because Wednesdays going forward here, we're not going to be doing the show on YouTube. We're going to be doing it just for the Living in the Future community. So we did episode 1. So if you join, you get to watch episode 1, plus episode 2 is going to be on Wednesday. And very excited. I've received more good feedback about that first episode than pretty much anything we've done on this channel so far. So if you're interested, I kind of did a very poor job of selling it to people. I said that it's going to be, you know, specifically for people who are wanting to build a business, leave their job, build a business, start earning Bitcoin. But it's basically just going to be anybody who wants to be in a different spot than they are today, regardless of what that looks like. Where you are today, if you're looking out into the future and you don't really know where you're going or don't know how to get there, this is going to be something that kind of ties everything together as a group. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend I'm like an expert in anything. I'm just going to share what I've learned, hopefully pass it on to some people, but also look at other resources that I've enjoyed and learned from, and kind of tie it in together into a 1-week plan. So you can join that. $5 a month, which is criminal, in my opinion, for the value that you get from. That's just one very small component of what you get from that membership too. So that is Living in the Future. Let me see if I can put it in the chat here. If anybody wants to join, we've had, there's been a slew of people joining in the last couple of weeks. And I think the proof of work thing is a big reason for that. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up that that's going to be Wednesday. And because when Wednesday morning rolls around, you're like, where the hell's Jor? Where's the daily Bitcoin journey today? That's where we're going to be. Right there. So I encourage you to join Try it out. Just join. Take $5. And one thing I said, I actually did a guarantee year. I said, if you join, you show up every Wednesday, and after 6 months, you're in the same spot or a worse position that you're in, I'll 100% refund everything you paid in Bitcoin. So I just want people to be, aware of it. I want people to try it, and zero risk. That there's in that scenario there's zero risk. You join it, you enjoy what I talk about, you get value from the things I share. Join that. After 6 months, if you didn't learn anything, if you didn't like it, I'll 100% refund you every dollar, but I'll even pay you in Bitcoin. Scotty V says, can you give an update on the 8 Satoshis project? Yes. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. I'm not really going to talk about it publicly, but we're going to be doing probably in the next couple weeks to a month, we're going to do like a meeting. I didn't set up a group chat or anything for 8 Satoshis because I don't want it to take away from living in the future. But we're probably going to do like a meeting and an update just for everybody who's involved with that, and kind of start mapping out these next 9 months here, 10 months. So anyways, thanks for the super chat, Bird Meta. Very much appreciated. And thanks for everybody for the zaps today for the rescue dogs. We did pretty good today. We got 888 sats. We got 25,000 sats. We got 1,000 sats, 1,200 sats, and 10,000 sats. So I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're going to be sniffing at 300,000 sats in the rescue dog fund. Pretty solid. Plus, we had a couple over in Zapstream too. We should give a shout out to. We had My Path to Fire, 88 sats, Spaceman 88 sats, Ryan, 1,000 sats, and Noah, 1,000 sats as well. Great day. So this was Solitary Tracks. This was the first of 4, I guess, because we won't be able to do it on Wednesday. But first of 4 Kip Moore inspired shows. So hope everybody has a great Monday today. Thank you once again for being here. Thank you for all the zaps. And we'll be back here tomorrow. So have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk to you then. And I heard Arnie sneaking back here. Oh, he's changed his mind. What a little chicken. All right. Bye-bye.